You ready?
Yep.
My
I was going to clap, but I was like, no, you're supposed to clap.
No, you can clap. Okay. Oh, she did it. How's it going, guys? My name is Miranda, and welcome back to another episode of Smut. I'm joined, well, as always and forever.
Thank you.
My one true co-host, Molly. And today we're going to talk about a Thanksgiving themed book, because last week was all about the spooky vibes, the spooky fall cozy vibes. This week's all about turkey and getting stuffed.
Love to hear it. So, last week's episode was a book that I think a lot of people have read, or at least probably heard of if you're into smutty books. And even if you're not, I feel like it's pretty popular. I hadn't ever heard of this one before, but it was one of the higher rated Thanksgiving books, which Miranda and I have determined was very hard to find, just because so many books may say it's about Thanksgiving and that lasts about 2 weeks, and then you somehow get to Christmas
and the New Year.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the first real true Thanksgiving book that we read. It is called A Match Made for Thanksgiving. It is the first book in the Holiday with the Wongs kind of 4-book novella series. It kicks off with 2 main characters. You have Nick and you have Lily. So Nick is the very typical hot, rich, living in the city kind of bachelor, known for sleeping around. He likes to have fun. He does not like to settle down whatsoever. And then you have Lily, quite the opposite. She's known as the responsible one, very reserved. And in fact, the whole plot starts off because she's trying to find someone to have a one-night stand with, because her long-term boyfriend breaks up with her because she's too boring.
Yeah.
Not very nice.
No,
we'll get to that.
I'm sorry. If you're long-term, it's whoa. If you...
In this bar, she's looking for someone to pick up, and she out loud exclaims, man, it's so hard to find somebody for a one-night stand. And who hears her but our very attractive, very rich other main character, Nick, which, lucky her. I don't know about you guys, but I would be very worried to shout that in a bar, and I don't think a hot rich guy is who would probably find me first.
I guess it depends on what bar you go to. She must have been to a really nice bar, because I
True.
also wouldn't be vocalizing my desire. How difficult it is to get a one-night stand.
Maybe a ritzy Toronto bar compared to Midwestern podunk bar, and maybe that's the differences here of who we would possibly find. Very kindly, very politely offers his services to her. That is in fact what they go and do. They both have a really good time, and they both are starting to have feelings for each other, but we said it was gonna be a one-night stand, so we gotta close it off, and they don't talk again. A week goes by. It's now Thanksgiving. This is set in Canada, so technically this is October now.
That threw me off so hard.
I forgot where we were for a second, and I was like, this isn't right.
No, I did too, because it was after Thanksgiving. He was like, it's October now. And I was like, what year is it? And I was like, oh, wait, we're in Canada. Right.
He goes home to Mosquito Bay. I'm also going to get into the fact that I feel like every romance novel is set in a town something bay. But anyways... So he goes back home to Mosquito Bay, and what he doesn't know is that his grandparents and his mom have been scheming behind his family's back to find blind dates for not only him, but all 3 of his brothers as well on Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'm sorry. 2 of his brothers and his sister.
Oh, yes, you're right. Thank you.
Yep. And they said, okay, I'm sorry.
They set her up with her ex-boyfriend that she broke up with.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell. We're not great at synopses because we just like to talk to each other as we're going through it.
It's really bad. This is our 5th
It's almost like you can tell that we're friends who like to talk to each other. So he goes home for Thanksgiving, and excitedly, Lily shows up.
Yeah.
But not for him.
No.
For his older brother.
His parents are really bad at matchmaking.
Really bad at matchmaking.
Really bad.
But of course, that's also fun. You've got some fun Thanksgiving-themed dinners. You've got some hijinks. The family's involved, which is really fun. And then, of course, this is not a spoiler. It is a romance book. They end up falling for each other, and so it is a short novella. It only takes place over the course of a couple of months, so it's really just detailing how they go from a one-night stand and from Nick being kind of the playboy to them actually falling in love, developing an actual relationship, and then what happens after all this family hijinks. Anything else that you would add before we start moving on to our ratings?
No, that's pretty much it. Like we said, it's a pretty short story. It's 200 pages. Less than 200 pages, really. So it's thing I really liked about it is it's straight to the point. I think you covered the synopsis pretty well. I don't know if you want to go over the tropes first.
We could definitely do some tropes.
Because I know people really like knowing the tropes. So
yeah, so I think for sure, of course, there's probably a better term for this, but just the fact that there's the hot rich playboy and then the reserved, responsible girl. You know, am I going to be enough for him because he's had so many women? Am I going to be too boring? Holidays involved, matchmaking side of things. There's matchmaking involved with the family, but it's not his date. It was kind of a nice way to have a pseudo conflict, if you will, without it being those two having like a relationship conflict. It still added something to the story. But yeah, do you want to get into our ratings?
Let's get into our ratings. So I don't know if you want to go first or if you want me to take this one.
Either or.
Okay.
I'm an equal opportunist.
I'll go first this time. I think you went first last time, so I'll take it. I give this book probably at least a 3, which doesn't seem a lot better than 2.
But I feel like for you, it is.
It is.
It really is.
Because I had so much fun with this book because I was laughing. I was like enjoying the characters because they seemed real to me, which wasn't the case last book where every other page was a contradictory like sentence. It's like, okay, wait. There are some parts that I was like, oh my God, she's me. This is going to be really like weird. But okay, so she is at the bar, right? Wanting to get in that one night stand. She notices the ice in the glass that the bartender's using. That's something that I do all the time.
I can vouch for that. That is something that she has done many a time.
I get so excited when, like, okay, and you know you have really good ice when you can't see the ice when it's submerged. Really big piece of ice.
Yeah.
And then later when she's having sexy fun times, she's in the middle of it, she's like thinking about that ice cube again. I'm like, oh my God, I do that too. I'm just like, I'm doing something that I shouldn't be thinking about.
Right.
Like
it's like those little details that you're like, this isn't a weird detail. It's more like, oh, this is actually what's humanizing them. Like this is a normal thing that like people do on occasion.
And that happened a few times with her and Nick too, where I'm like, oh, these are I can understand them as people. And I think that was way better than the last book. Do I wish there was a little more smut? Sure. But I feel like we got more than the last book too anyway. So
for a Thanksgiving smut novella, it was
I had fun with it. I had fun with it. So that was my big one. But Molly, how about you?
Yeah, I'll be honest, both with you and anyone watching, I had a really hard time with a rating for this because compared to the last book, I agree completely with what Miranda said. It was in a way like a much more fun read. The people seemed a lot more real. Like reading the dialogue, I wasn't like confused every other sentence because it was kept changing. I was like, oh, this is real people having real conversations. The way that their family is involved, how they speak to each other, like the events that take place. And it definitely gave like the fuzzy feelings. The smut itself was a lot better. I think for me, what the hard part was is I haven't read a novella before actually. So I'm used to a more drawn out plot. So there were parts for me where I was like, I loved the story of him going from a playboy to really like learning that he didn't just want her in that way, but actually wanted her around long term and was really falling for her. Yeah. But I'm like, that doesn't happen in 2 months. Like that, you know, like, I mean, so there are things like that made it harder for me to rate it. So I would say I'm somewhere between a 3 and a 4. So, you know, I'm just going to say 4. Okay. Wasn't my favorite, but like of the holiday smut we have read, like this one was pretty dang good. And I'd be interested to see the other 3 books in the series, like if that makes me like it the same amount or if I end up even liking it more after I get more time with all the other brothers. Please read it.
She's like, what would I say? I, Lily Stang, sensible accountant, am trying to have my first one-night stand. Will you sleep with me, please and thank you?
Yeah, like we would script it out and be like, how do I most politely bring this up to somebody in a bar?
How do I politely ask a man to sleep with me for one night only? Why is it so difficult? Like, I don't know. It humanizes her, and I think that's fun, and also just it's easy to read.
For us, I feel like our ratings are pretty good, but like if you really love just like cute romances, holiday vibes, like you'll probably like this even more. There were a lot of funny moments, and compared to XX, I feel like if you watch that episode, we giggled a lot. Because it was bad. Yes. Like there was a lot of like cringy moments that made us laugh. And this book was actually like we're laughing because the moments were funny. The lines were funny. Like there's some things about monsters that we can talk about more in the spoiler section. It was just fun. Like it was funny. It was well written.
Every time the family was in the picture, I was like, this is great. And like your point about it being so short and like, you know, you wanted more of the story. I will say it's like watching a short film, but like a good short film where you get the story. Yes, you could have drawn it out, but I kind of like that it wasn't drawn out because I'm not a huge fan of, okay, you clearly love her, you clearly like her, because And maybe it's just because this happened to me and James. It connected like instantly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a tangent. I wasn't looking for a potential husband or anything when I went on a date with him. And now I'm getting married, so there's that. It just was like an instant connection, and I immediately was like, oh, I really like this guy.
Yeah, like you can imagine it more because it's happened to you.
Yes, and I think that does help because it was their connection. Yeah, it did seem to go fast, and that happens in a lot of these books I'm told, which I get now because it literally happened to me, where very first date, I was like, oh, okay, I like this guy. And apparently he liked me.
Right.
So, hey.
Also, I just want to be clear, Matt, if you're watching, I am not saying that we didn't have an instant connection, but I think for me, like I was so focused on like the Playboy versus the other that I was like, well, that wasn't us.
Well, and I don't know, like I didn't read it as he was like I mean, I know he was a Playboy, but he was never douchey about it.
That is a good point. It wasn't a character that was really douchey and annoying that you were like, oh, you have to learn to love him, or like he does a lot of like things to put down women that you're like, how is this going to happen? It was truly just similar to the XX where there's a lot of mention of the guy's hair.
Oh yeah.
There's just a lot of casual mentions of like, oh, he sleeps with so many people. He's a Playboy. Yep. And like, sometimes he'll be like, oh, Lily's so great. I want her forever. And then he'll be like, man, I've had so many women in this bed. And you're like, why are you still bringing it up? So it's more of that kind of thing. But to your point, it is kind of easier to bypass because you're not having to deal with like a weird attitude or like a weird like persona. Unlike every hockey book I've ever read, where usually that is what you're having to like go over. So you need a longer book to get there.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point that I didn't think of. But yeah, you're totally right. He's not a douche, so it does make it easier to kind of like maneuver through that relationship.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had a one-night stand. My one-night stand is continuing on. It keeps on going. So, I don't know. I've had a one-night stand for years now.
That's true. What are we, almost 11 years in now?
Oh my God.
I know.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're old.
I know. Probably more thoughts than we originally thought we were going to go through in this section.
Yep, sorry about that.
But with that, this is our disclaimer for all of you. We are going to move into more of the spoiler part of this review. So we'll go into more of like what actually happened, our takes on different scenarios, different quotes. If you have read the book, please keep watching. If you haven't, you are welcome to still keep watching, but just a reminder, there will be spoilers.
Yeah, I guess we've already kind of spoiled it as, they hook up and the one-night stand does not stay a one-night stand.
Yeah, although if you've ever read any romance book or watched any rom-com, I would hope that's not a spoiler. I would hope that you don't walk into this and go, oh, they got together at the end?
I was not prepared.
Hopefully that's not the case. If it somehow was,
I apologize.
Super sorry.
super sorry. We're in the spoiler section now, or we're gonna just talk freely, more freely than we already are.
Yeah, somehow
about, and it's hard because it is so short. With XX, it was easy to be like, okay, I'm gonna,
categorize like my different thoughts.
This one is short, and it's like anything I say, I feel like could be a spoiler. So we're just it's gonna be more casual now. We're gonna bring up bits and pieces here and there. Is there anything that you wanted to touch base on right away?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I would say no.
So I guess I'll start with like something that I thought was kind of funny and immediately clocked was the author describes Nick as a Henry Golding type.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, by the way. It was great because, Henry Golding, if you don't know, is an actor. You might know him from Crazy Rich Asians, where he plays a character named Nick.
Who is also really hot and rich and known as a ladies' man. So very similar vibes.
Yeah. I was immediately like, okay, got it. I'm just picturing Henry Golding now. This entire book is just Henry Golding.
I don't mind Henry Golding.
No, I don't either.
We just talked about how there's a lot of parts that are actually like funny, not cringy.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite lines that's right in the beginning is, you have Lily, she's in the bar still. She's really talking about like, how would I possibly bring this up? He's already there now. They're having their conversation. He's like, well, has it been a long time for you? Like, why do you want a one-night stand? And she's like, well, it's been 6 months, but that's like really not that long for me, bud. And he stops her and he's like, oh, because you're horny? And she's like, yeah.
Very.
And he's like, say the word, Lily. And she's like, I can't. It makes me think of monsters. And he's like, what? And she's like, because they have horns.
Horny monsters.
And I was like, Yeah.
I love Lily.
Actually, yeah, like I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah.
Go, and she has a lot of lines like that you're just like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she made me laugh a lot. And actually I did find the part where the ice cube thing comes into play.
Please.
So let me so they're getting busy, right? So I'll just read you the first sentence before. He says, "Feel how hard it makes me when you talk like that." Stupidly, it made her think of that ice cube in his old fashioned. The ice cube that was a bit bigger than any ice cube she'd ever seen before. I read that and I was like, she's me.
Also, right, I don't think there's a single, maybe men, because men, no offense to men out there, can probably be a little more like one track minded. I don't know a single woman who has not had like some random tangent thought while things are going on. Like if you can, like that's great for you. I am not one of those people.
Stereotypically, men's brains versus women's brains. Men's brains are very like waffle. They have like compartments. Women's brains, spaghetti.
That's why women are better at multitasking.
Exactly.
Whereas if my husband is sending a text message and I also say something to him, he can't respond at the same time, which...
Exactly. It's not his fault. He has a waffle brain.
That's what I'm going to tell him next time. You know, he's going to apologize. He's going to say it's okay.
It's just
you got a waffle brain. Don't worry about it.
Waffle brain. And women have spaghetti brains, and they're just it's crisscrossing all the time. And
fast forward now. Let's get more into the plot. So this is a week later.
Yes.
She is not from the same hometown, but apparently they're very close together. So like their parents know each other somehow. But one part that I know both of us really liked was Nick's family. So it's not only his parents, but also his grandparents. I think those were kind of the funniest parts for me. Because the grandma, just culturally, as a Chinese grandmother, she's like, all of my grandchildren, they're getting old. They have no relationships. Like, I need them to settle down and get married. And that's kind of like why she's in it. And then the mom, who is a white woman in the book, she just is a smut reader.
Yes.
Like us. And she's more like, oh my God, it's so cute. Like, I have to. And that's why she sets up her daughter with her daughter's ex. Because she's like, oh, it's a second chance romance.
Yeah.
Or, different things like that. So it's really fun to kind of see like the family figuring this all out and joking about it. I thought that was absolutely hysterical.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I was a little like, come on, Mom. You can't do that to your daughter. I mean,
That was rough.
I mean, it could have been, I didn't know the situation, but like the daughter was very much upset. And I'm like, this guy must have really messed up. They ended up physically throwing him out of the house.
Throwing out.
The brothers are, I mean, it sounds like the brothers are great because they're like, oh, our sister doesn't want you here. I don't care if my mom invited you.
Get
GTFO. Out. You're out of here. I'm not even going to ask what happened, which I really respected a lot. It was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, good job, bros.
Yeah, totally agree. The other thing I liked, same kind of scenario. We talked about this earlier, but like Lily's there, but not for Nick, for his brother.
Yes.
I kind of forgot during this part that it was a novella, and I was like, oh, here we go again. It's going to be like some sort of conflict, and they're going to keep it a secret, and it's going to be like a whole thing that we don't need it to be. But it actually ended pretty quickly because they're so into each other that they're kind of like making out with the Thanksgiving desserts in the background, kind of in the kitchen. And they end up telling the brother within like an hour being there, like, hey, actually, like, we've already met. We've been on a date. He's super cool about it. They kind of like sneak out like teenagers and go for like a walk together, and their family catches them. So again, like, speaking of realness, like that feels like something that would happen where you're like kind of embarrassed. You don't want to tell your parents. So like you decide you're going to like sneak out of the house, and then your grandparents catch you making out with somebody. Like,
well, and about the grandparents too is like they were getting really cozy in the kitchen before all this happened. Apparently, unbeknownst to them all, Grandpa had seen them and was like, nice, and then continued on with his dinner and didn't say anything,
which is such a grandpa thing to do too.
He's just like, yeah. And then Grandma found them. He had Lily like, pinned against like, the side of the house, making out with her. And then Grandma was like, oh, "You're kissing your brother's date?" And Grandpa's like, "Yeah, I saw them making out in the kitchen too." And she was like,
right, which
why
is
don't
also
you tell
like
me?
Such a married couple thing to be like, what do you mean you saw them? Why didn't you tell me? I set this whole thing up. Yeah. And then there's other pieces of it. I'm going to go back to a point you made earlier in the last section about the fact that he's not a douche, and that made it a little bit easier to believe that like he could fall so fast and like change his personality. Yeah. There's a lot of scenarios where like he's able to show her, and this is kind of like what I alluded to with the fact that there's no second act breakup. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that I feel like could have gone wrong if it were a longer book. But for example, Lily, we talked about it. She's quote unquote boring to other people. She's the responsible one. And Nick is like,
she's very anxious about the fact that she's been
Yes.
told she's boring. So that is her thing of like, she's afraid that he's living in Toronto, he lives this like glitzy life. She's terrified that she's going to bore him, drag him down, and she's horrified of that.
Once I start getting you into some more longer smut books too, and for those who already read them who are watching this, it's a pretty frequent thing where like one of the characters has a lot of self-doubt about some aspect, and then like that's the cause of like, I have to break up because I'm dragging you down, and the other person is like, well, what are you talking about? And it's like always a dumb conflict.
Yes.
Because it was a shorter book, I didn't have to deal with that. So it was
I like that.
an actual mature conversation where Lily would just be like, hey, we're at a restaurant together and all these like hot women are staring at you. But actually, I realize now that you haven't stared at a single one of them. You've only been focused on me. And he's like, yeah, because you are the only one for me. Like there's no one else I would be looking at.
Yep.
Very easy solves. There's also times pretty quickly after the Thanksgiving, they still don't quite know what they are to each other yet. And she gets super, super sick in his apartment. And he is making her food. He is taking care of her. Not saying that's like high level standard, like that should be the bare minimum in real life. But the fact that in the book, you know, he's able to switch so quickly to do things with her, help her out when she needs it.
Yep.
Of course, his family comes to visit him right at this time too. And now they're all over her like, oh my gosh, we have to feed you. We have to help you. It is nice that they give a lot of reasons like why you should like him.
Yeah.
And they make it very clear, like, nope, he truly has switched. There's nothing for us as the readers to worry about. We don't have to worry about, like, some big conflict. It's just like, no, things are going good.
I mean, and the whole him being, like, a playboy and whatnot, like, I took that as he just didn't want to commit because he was afraid of becoming his parents in the sense of settling in a small town. And I'm like, his fear is, okay, I get it. I don't want to judge you, Nick, but that's a really dumb fear. You don't have to go move back to a small town and have, 4 kids. You can stay in Toronto.
Yeah.
You make enough money, clearly. He's in, like, the 50th floor on a penthouse.
Like, yeah, he's in a penthouse
You're
in
doing
Toronto.
okay. You can probably find a nice place to have a kid or 2 or 7 if you really wanted to.
Yes.
But it's like, it kept
That's
going
like
back to...
the dumbest part of like,
Yeah.
well, I don't want to be like my parents. And I'm like, you don't want to be in love?
Well, it's just because he'd also...
Because you can do it anywhere.
But he also kind of liked that his parents did like each other.
Yeah.
So it was like, I feel like your fear was moving back to a small town, which is, you don't have to, man. Mm-hmm. What do you... But anyways, that was his, like, whole thing of, like, that's why he never really found somebody.
Yes.
Well, what he
and then, of course,
was.
she responded to that, too, of, like, I don't want to go back to my hometown either. Like, we get on to stay in Toronto. So, like, all of the things that could have been conflicts were very quickly squashed, but in a way that's, like, satisfying of, like, oh, well, these are 2 adults just talking it out like you would want, and that's good. Yes.
Ding, 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 ding. They actually spoke to each other and were written like adults. When she was sick, and he had gone to a gala and like got all fancy, and she saw pictures of him around people who were also really pretty and made up, ate away at her anxiety and insecurities. Which I get. You see your man out there with other glammed up people, and you're like, that's not me. He handles it so well. Instead of putting blame on her or saying something stupid like putting his foot in his mouth or something to make her feel worse, he professes his love to her while she's sick. Really sweet moment. And it's like, and he's even like, yeah, don't worry, I want you to get better. We had plenty of time to,
and he comes home early from the gala
he
too.
does,
He's like, well, I missed you. Yeah, it's really sweet.
I don't like the idea of, okay, if you guys just talked. But I'm a really big communicator. James knows this about me. That was the one thing, the first thing I told him was, I will tell you if we ever have like a conflict.
Like,
or
you will know this is not ever going to be a guessing game for you.
No, I will tell you if I'm ever upset with you or something. Like, I will be like direct. I'm not just going to be like,
Yeah, you are definitely, I feel like even in our friendship, you're not in like I've done something wrong to you, hopefully, but you've never been somewhere I'm like, are you okay? And you're like, I'm fine. And it's a very obvious you're not.
Well, I'm fine.
You are definitely like, I'm just going
you.
to tell you how I'm feeling, which is very nice.
Yeah, no. I don't like the beating around the bush kind of thing. And especially as I've gotten older, it's like, why?
We don't have time for that.
I don't got time for that. Life is too busy, guys. Like, just say it, We're adults having an adult conversation, and they weren't afraid to do it. they were anxious about it for sure. She was definitely really anxious about it because she thought for sure that they'd break up. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, you're crazy. No, I like you.
You know what I just realized? Mm-hmm. Part of me wants to end this because I'm getting really tired and I just want to hang out with you. But also, we have not talked about any sex.
Oh, shit. Now, Molly, what's your pepper level?
So I would say it's definitely better than Exec. That one was more just like a couple scenes, but it was a little closed door-ish to me. Mm-hmm. This is definitely open door. There's a couple more explicit scenes that were like well written. So I would give this, if we're doing one is there are scenes, I would give it maybe like a 2 to a 3. Like it's not all over the place. It's tasteful in the fact that like it makes sense when the scenes are brought in. They're not just written to be there. So that's why I'd give it like a middle of the ground. There definitely could be more, but also it's a novella. So if there were a lot more, it would probably be like, again?
Yeah. Same, honestly, because could have had a little bit more or, maybe extra things or something, but I don't know. I would say 2 or 3 as well. Maybe 2.5. I'll just cut the middle.
Yeah.
2.5.
2.5.
2.5 peppers.
Yeah.
And they're crunchy.
Perfect. Somewhere between 3 and 4 stars between the three of us. I'm going to start that over.
Who is the third person, Molly? Are they by you or by me?
They're under the blanket.
Oh my God.
So with that, I think just to go over everything we've already talked about. So between Miranda and I, our ratings for the book overall were between a 3 and a 4. Mm-hmm. For our spice rating, probably 2.5 chili peppers for spice level.
Yep.
And I think the final PSA that we've learned from this book is just communicate with your partners, have mature conversations. It makes everything a lot easier and enjoyable. So
it really does. And if you can't be honest with your partner, then
not the right person.
I don't know. I'm not a relationship advisor, but based on my relationship and happiness, having someone who you could just connect with and you could talk to, huge.
Huge.
Think of it as like you're dating your best friend.
Mm-hmm. Huge like that ice cube.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I can't. It was a big ice cube.
Big ass ice cube.
And it was in his old fashioned, so I'm thinking like, what glass did he have? And like what? Anyways, okay.
Right, so that's what we're going to spend the rest of our night talking about.
Ice cubes.
We hope that you enjoy the rest of your night. And then in our next episode, we will be covering a Christmas smut book.
Molly's so excited.
I am really excited. Christmas is my holiday. There are so many more options for a Christmas smut book than Halloween and Thanksgiving.
Look, maybe we could even do 2.
Because don't tempt me with a good time.
Okay, if you can find 2 good ones, I will allow that to happen because I feel like I'd rather read 2 Christmas ones than a New Year's one, but
agreed.
We can
I'll see what I can find. But this is a good point for you. We're obviously going to try to read our Christmas book sooner rather than later. But if you do see this and you have recommendations, please send them our way. And guys, appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button and the like button and comment.
All the things.
Okay, bye. Man, that was rough.
I'm gonna go to bed now.
Molly, that was rough.
Somebody get me some cheesy bread.